We own a 2021 Ford Bronco, and when I spec'd the build for our Bronco, I made a stupid mistake.
For those who don't know, we own a 4-door Bronco with the Mid and Sasquatch package. It's Big Ben trim.
Pretty simple in the world of Bronco builds. What I didn't add were Upfitter switches, because I thought there is no scenario I could possibly imagine where I'd need aftermarket lights. Then, after 2 years of owning a Bronco up here in the mountains of California, it became very clear that we could use some aftermarket lights.
How many times have we been on an off-road adventure that doesn't end when the sun goes down, even though we mean it to?
To add some detail, we've had our Bronco up here in some truly inclement weather, including a blizzard. So what I wanted to add was a pair of quality fog lights and a combo light that gives you a little bit more distance and also kind of fills in the corners, because oftentimes when you're off-roading at night, it's really hard to see the corners and you don't want to drop a wheel into something that you can't drive out of.
Or run over a random squirrel.
Night squirrels. Having thought about which lights we needed, the question came, how do we control them? Boy, I sure wish I had those Upfitter switches that they offered that I did not spec, that I didn't think I would ever need. But I did some investigation, and as luck would have it, other people were successful in adding them after the fact. As it turns out, it's a pretty involved process, but there are some really good reasons to go with Ford's factory Upfitter switch solution. Number one, seamlessly integrated in here. It takes the place of the sunglass holder, which we never use, and each of these switches activates power to a specific colored wire underneath the hood. As it turns out, every single Bronco, whether you get these switches or not, have those wires pre-wired throughout the vehicle. So they go under the hood, so you can like wire up things there. They actually go in down here to the glove compartment and all the way back to the rear quarter panel. So there's all this wiring ready to be used. How do you make it work? It turns out you need 3 parts. The actual module right here with the switches, a unique wiring harness, and then a completely new fuse box under the hood. Now, just trying all this stuff on my own would have felt a little bit daunting, but Middleton Motorsports made a complete install video, and that gave me the bravery to try it myself. If you want to see what the entire install process looks like for them, and it's very thorough, you can click right up here. Great video. Middleton also sells a kit with all the parts you want. It's actually kind of pricey though. It's like $900, but you know it's the right parts. I went an alternate route and bought our parts through Ruxer Ford, which offers a discount for Bronco6G.com members, of which I am one. They were very helpful in identifying the right parts for our specific trim, and here's how much everything costs. As you might have observed, that is notably more expensive than the $200 it would have cost to select this when we built the Bronco. It's a little hard to tell how long the install actually should take because I was trying to film it while I was doing it, but this is how involved it got. Honestly, tearing the interior apart wasn't that bad. The scary part for me was installing the fuse box, because there are 3 bolts that you have to secure, and what you don't want to do is over tighten them and like strip something, because that's like where all the electricity is going through, and you don't want to brick your Bronco. I got the install taken care of after many hours, let's say 3 hours of install time, being very diligent. It's a little bit scary, but if you follow the instructions, it's really not that bad. One thing I was really grateful for is that there was no reprogramming necessary to get this all to work after the fact. I am told there may be some sort of code that a dealership can read, but I took this to the Ford dealership after doing the install with the Upfitter switches, and nobody said a thing. Plus, we've only got a year left on the warranty anyway, so what are you gonna do? We got the Upfitter switches installed. What have we done with them? One, we connected them to our Oracle Flush Fits tail lights. Flip this and it turns on our backup lights, which is really, really helpful when you're, let's say, at a campsite or you're hanging out with people late at night and you want to see behind the vehicle. The other thing we did is we got a light kit specifically for the capable bumper that we installed. We got it from 4x4TruckLEDs.com, and it's really cool. It comes with a bracket, like a one-piece unit, really solidly built, relatively easy install. The lights went in, looks pretty flush. It kind of goes with that plausibly stock aesthetic that I've wanted to make sure that the Bronco adheres to. That light kit comes with 2 different lights. So we've got yellow fogs, and what's really cool is that the harness they include connects it so that the fogs are activated with the stock fog light button. And then the combo lights are activated right here on auxiliary 1. And I would activate that, but they would blind other traffic. Maybe not blind, but I don't want to be a jerk. And exactly as I'd hoped, the wiring part of that whole install was incredibly easy. You just like hook a wire and then ground the wire over here, and it all worked the first time. What a relief. For comparison's sake, here are the stock low beams. Here are the stock high beams, and then here's what it looks like with the combo beams activated. To me, that is a massive improvement. We also have the fogs, and I really like that the fogs have a very sharp cutoff, so they're not shining light unnecessarily in other people's faces. They're illuminating low and should give us added visibility in really inclement weather. Oh, and those fog lights are SAE legal. As for the other 4 unused switches, we are not looking to add any other accessories, but I don't know. Maybe there'll be something that I haven't thought about before, and then we've got the ability to activate them with these guys right here. In conclusion, if I were to buy a Bronco now, I would 100% add the switches, even if I have no thought about adding any sort of aftermarket accessory. They're only $200. If you amortize that cost over the period of owning the vehicle, it's essentially like adding 0 to the price tag. They look cool even if you never use them, but if you do want them at some point down the road, you'll be so happy you have them. Looking at the configurator, I think the Upfitter switches are optional in the Big Bend trim, the Outer Banks trim, and the Heritage Edition. If you're considering getting any of those trims, just get the Upfitter switches. And if you already bought a Bronco that does not have the Upfitter switches and you want to add them, just know you can, but it is not going to be the cheapest way to do it. You should have got it when you bought it. Ask me how I know. If you guys have questions about the Upfitter switches, lights, or anything else we've done to our Bronco, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Or if you just want to tell me that I was dumb for not speccing the Upfitter switches in the first place, you are welcome to do so.
And if you'd like to follow along with our Bronco ownership journey or our new car reviews, consider subscribing.
Family, I think we've done a good job outlining how I stupidly spec'd our Bronco. May I have a 5 and a 5? And you can get your high five. Bam!